I've been working on DXCC on 6 meters to try to get 10 band DXCC, and 6 meters can be a little difficult to work DX on. But I did get a whiff of an interesting program that was written by VE3NEA, Alex, who's one of those guys like K1JT that changed ham radio forever. He wrote the original Skimmer, CW Skimmer program, as well as RIDI Skimmer program, which has changed DXing rather dramatically. So he's also written a program. He's working on 6 meter DXCC too. So he came to the conclusion that, well, you know, there's a lot going on 6 meters, and it's really hard to hear it all at once. So he wrote this program called JT Skimmer, and I have it running live right here. Can you see that?
Yes.
Hello. It's a program that allows you to look at a whole bunch of different slices of a half megacycle chunk of any band. Actually, it runs on a cheap SDR radio. SDR Play is what I'm using. It's like $100 SDR radio that listens from DC to 2 gigahertz. Or it'll also listen to other sorts of SDR, cheap SDRs, RTL SDR or AirSpy. In any account, you can look at a bunch of different slices. I've only gone to about 15 of them, but I think you can do a lot more. At the moment, what you're seeing here on the screen is 8 different slices of 6 meters going on in real time. I'm listening to FT8 on 3 of them. That would be 5310, 5313, and 5323. You can see some activity going on here on 5313. I'm also listening to Q65A30 on 5275, Meteor Scatter MSK 144 on 5260, as well as with no decoding happening, just looking at the waterfall, and you can also listen to it by turning on the speakers. The phone frequency, calling frequency 5125, and the CW kind of de facto calling frequency of 50095. All this happens simultaneously. It lists everything decoded over here in the screen on the right side. And it's interesting. You can find out a lot about what's going on the band. For instance, when the band gets real crowded with DX, DX tends to sneak over to places like 50.323, because it's a whole lot less crowded, and also 50.318, which is FT4 frequency, because if the band is open enough, you can bang out a lot more contacts in FT4 than you can on FT8. Kind of an interesting piece of software. All it takes is a cheap SDR to run it. You can get the software at ve3nea.github.io. Just Google JT Skimmer and it'll get you right there. Free download. It's in beta at the moment. Pretty interesting. Sure does give you a whole lot more in the way of situational awareness of what's going on a particular band. So there's something new to play with. What do you think of that?
I
Chad,
think that's
what-
tremendous. Good,
What do
good.
you use for a PC or a PC or Linux that run on?
It runs on a PC at the moment.
Do you need a very powerful one if you only want to do, say, 4 slices?
I don't know. I've only run it on a relatively powerful one, and I've run as many as 15 slices. The program runs as does JTDX and other sorts of WSJTX programs. It actually runs on the JT9.exe file that comes with WSJTX. So when you upgrade that, you also upgrade this. I think, what is it? JT JS call also runs on the same files. They're all based on Joe Taylor's software.
Well, Ted, I need it. I know exactly what you're talking about on 6 meters. And the perfect case in point was last fall. Gary, W9XT, will remember this very well. When I was chasing Europe on 50.313, Gary was working ET 3 AAA, right, Gary? On 50.323. So I really blew that. I just really blew it. That would have been an easy contact, and I just didn't know they were there.
Well, you need one of
yep,
these here.
you got to add
JT Skimmers.
Yeah, we need that.
I do report everything that I hear on JT Skimmer to the reverse beacon network. So if you put my call in there and to see what I'm hearing, that'll also tell you everything on these various modes that I'm hearing.
Cool, very good.
Ted, which antenna are you using to feed this SDR in the skimmer?
It's running on a splitter off my standard 6 meter rig. It's a 5-element cobble of Cushcraft long boom that's up at about 100 feet. And I run a splitter to, out of the receive port from my TS990. The cheap SDR here is only a couple of dB worse than the pretty spendy Kenwood. You get a lot of radio for $100 these days.
Does it come with, does it have a preamp built in?
No, I'm just running it naked. I do have a preamp, and I'm going to experiment with that, but so far, you know, just right into the A to D converter seems to work.
Perfect, perfect. By the way, I looked at the website and they do have the specs for the type of PC and video and so forth. So it's seems to be a well-documented website. And in the chat, I put in that email, or excuse me, that web address.
Thank you.
And you know, I have to not argue, but this is kind of a new mode within Joe Taylor's family. I wasn't that far off.
But yeah. Well, it was certainly uses Joe Taylor's work.
Yeah. To the uninformed, I would have been okay.
There's a whole bunch of different offshoots from WSJTX that are out there that are doing different things, including one that'll actually do automated DXing. I'm not much of a fan of that, but people have done various things. It's you know, public GPL licensed stuff, so you can take the code and do what you need to.
Any other questions for Ted?